Once we have made the first element of the molding, we should now replicate it for the entire circular platform of the stringer. There are a variety of ways to do this. In particular, the easiest one is through the array modifier. To use this tool, we select the element we have just created and then move its origin to the center of the axis. To do this, as we have already done for the other object, we go to Object, Apply, or Transform. In this way, we see that the origin, indicated by the orange dot, has arranged itself on the origin of the axis. Now we add a new element in the scene, an empty element. Shift-A, empty, arrows, which are arrows that are arranged centrally to the axis. Once we have done that, we select the element again, and among the modifier we choose the array modifier. Here we uncheck the relative offset and select object offset instead. We open the drop-down and with the pipe we select object empty. In this way, we are saying that we would like to multiplicate the elements not to occur on the basis of the axis, because if we select a relative offset, for example, we can see that the multiplied elements are only arranged along the chosen axis, and we can only modify the distance between them. Since we want to use object offset, we are going to rotate the empty object on the z-axis by 5 degrees. We notice how the array worked correctly by multiplying the molding around the perimeter of the top shelf marker. It also depends on the value I give to the rotation of the empty object, so the greater the rotation, the greater the distance between the individual elements of the molding. A distance of 6 degrees will be fine, but now we have to fill the whole circle, however, by going to modify the parameters of the array modifier and on the number of elements in order to rotate them around the empty object. Let's increase until I have filled the circle. So, with a number of 63 elements and a rotation of 6 degrees, I got the molding. We could have done the same thing by exploiting the mirror modifier, although it is a slower and more complicated process, but it is good now to show you anyway. We momentarily deselect the array, remembering the numbers we set, returning to the single element whose origin always comes from the axis origin. I duplicate it with Shift D, leaving it in the same position. After that, I place myself in the top view and with the RZ move the element along the circumference. This procedure will be repeated for the whole semicircle, not the whole circle. In order not to waste too much time, I duplicate them with a larger distance between them. I then return to the initial point. Having finished that, I select all the elements in the semicircle and merge them with Ctrl J into a single object. After that, I choose the mirror modifier that allows me to choose along which axis I want to mirror the elements. In this case, only along the y-axis. Even in this way, I get replication of the elements for the whole circular body of the tower, but this is not our case, so let's go back to initial array tool. There is a much faster method.